Hello, seventh graders. Let's hope that we have sound tonight. If we do, yay! We are on lesson 1-4. I can add integers. I don't have my book right next to me, so I don't know the page number off the top of my head, but look for 1-4 in your book and follow along. So remember integers, going back, remember integers are positive, negative, and 0. Positive numbers, negative numbers, and 0. Okay? So when we talk about adding integers, so adding positive and negative numbers together, there are 4 different things, or 4 different ways, no, sorry, 3 different ways that we can use to add integers together. So the first one, we can use a number line. So if we have -4, we're going to find -4 on my number line. I'm going to make a dot on there. And then I want to add -2. So we're adding, but we're adding a negative. So negative, remember, if it's to the left of 0, it's negative. So we would be going to the left. So we're going 1, 2, and we end up at -6. So -4 plus -2 equals -6. Okay? If we have 3 plus -4, we start at 3, and then we're adding a negative number, so we're going to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. We end up at -1. Okay? Which makes sense if we think about it. If we have +3 and we're adding -4, so we're adding more negatives than positives, then we should be in the negative. Okay, another thing that we can do is we can pretend that we have counters and add integers that way. So since I don't have well, for this first one I don't need positive. Okay, so my yellow counters are positive and my red counters are negative. So if I have 3 negatives, I'm going to draw 3 negative counters, and then I'm going to add in 2 more negatives, so 2 more reds. So then I end up with 5 negatives, so that would be -5. And if we check it on our number line, start at -3, go over to the right 2, and I end up at -5. Okay, for this one we start with 6 negatives, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make them a little bit bigger. And we want to add, I need to calibrate my board here. We need to add 3 positives, and I don't have a yellow, so I'm going to use blue for yellow. So I'm going to add 3. Okay, so if we have a positive and a negative, this just looks horrible here. Hang on. Let me see if I can calibrate it really quick during my video. If not, it might screw up my video. And then I might have to start over. Okay. So we have 6 negatives. And 3 positives. Now, if we read this right here, an integer and its opposite have a sum of 0. So a negative and a positive cancel each other out. Cancel, cancel. So we are left with 3 negatives. So our answer would be -3. And if we come over to our number line to check, we have -6 right here. And then we're adding 3. So we go 1, 2, 3, and we end up right there. And we get -3. Okay. So a couple rules that we can remember for adding integers if we don't have a number line and if we don't have counters. We can always draw a number line and use it. But if they have the same signs, we can remember that we just add and keep the same sign. So -2 plus -3, we add, so 2 plus 3 equals 5, and then we keep the same sign, -5. If they have different signs, we would subtract and then keep the sign of the number with the largest absolute value. Remember, different signs find the difference. So what does that mean? So let's do -6 minus 3. Wait, why am I doing? I was looking at subtract, and that's why I made a subtraction problem. So let's do -6 plus 3. Okay, so first we subtract. So we're going to do 6 minus 3 equals 3. Then, in our head, or we can write it out, we're going to find the absolute value of each number. So the absolute value of -6 is 6. The absolute value of 3 is 3. So we take the sign of the number with the largest absolute value. So this is our largest absolute value. The sign of that is negative. So we're going to make this a -3. Let's do another one because that's confusing. Let's do -9 plus 4. Okay, so first we subtract. So we do 9 minus 4, and we get 5. Then we take the absolute value of -9, and we get 9. Take the absolute value of 4, and we get 4. And then we see, well, this absolute value is greater, so that means I'm going to make this negative. So -9 plus 4 would equal -5. Okay, pause me for a second and see if you can do these problems right down here, and then I'll go through them together. Okay, so -4 plus -5. We have the same signs, so we're going to add them together and we get 9, and then keep the sign. Here we have -9 plus 16. We have different signs. I'm going to take the bigger number and subtract. So we have 16 minus 9, so I have 7. And then the absolute value of 16 is 16. And the absolute value of -9 is 9. 16 is greater, 16 is positive, so we leave it as +7. -9 plus 5. Different signs, so we do 9 minus 5 equals 4. And then we -9, our absolute value is 9, which is greater than the absolute value of 5, which is 5. So I keep my negative. So you take the sign of the number that has the greatest absolute value. You can also think about this in your head. You have -9, but you're only adding 5, so it makes sense that you're still in the negative area. Okay, here we have 3 different numbers, so we're going to do our first 2 numbers first. So 8 plus -6, different signs, so I do 8 minus 6 equals 2. And then we keep it positive because 8 is greater and it's positive. And then I bring down my +5 and I get 7. Okay? Feel free to go back and rewatch this. I know this adding, if it's same signs or different signs, is a little bit confusing. Pick a couple problems either in the examples or maybe the first couple problems in your book to practice in your notes, and then remember to go on and do your NICU quiz, and I will see you tomorrow.